So today we are looking at an introduction to NLP part 2.
So very quick recap on My People Club, and for anyone that's listening that hasn't heard about My People Club before, it's an online membership platform for HR professionals, coaches and trainers. And also there's a lot of stuff on there that's really applicable if you are a small business owner too. And you can find out more on our website at www.mypeopleclub.com. Now, if you are in HR coaching and training, there is a whole host of stuff on there that is going to help you in your roles, in your professions, and to be successful. There's lots of resources. We're talking over 500 different types of documents, templates, and other useful guides. If you're a coach, there's a whole raft of tools and models that you can use and things to help you if perhaps you're in a management role and you want to adopt a bit more of a coaching style. And if you're a trainer, then there's lots of resources on there as well to help you put together really effective training courses. In addition, there are business discounts as part of our directory, and we also have masterclasses. And this month we launched a new masterclass with the Queen Bee, also known as Danny Wallace, who has given us a masterclass all about show up, wise up, rise up. That's now live, and we've got a live Q&A with her in the middle of June. But now to the main event, handing back to Chris to take us through part 2 of NLP.
Great. Just moving things around my screen so I can see a bit better. That's better. So today we're going to do a really quick recap on last time session. And today we're going to focus on state of mind, limiting beliefs, and logical levels of change. So let's get going. So success is a state of mind. If you want success, start thinking of yourself as a success. And that's a really, really good quote, and really important as we go through today's session, because we are really going to focus on state of mind. So let's recap first. So neuro-linguistic programming, or NLP, what is it? So it's a way of communicating with others. It's a way of looking at your own behaviours. So what is it used for? To look at and understand your behaviours. It's also used to model behaviours. So a big part of NLP is looking at the behaviours or the skills that you want to achieve, and potentially looking at other people who are where you want to go, and then looking at how they got there and the skills and their presence and all, their state, and how to get there yourself. So we're going to look a little bit more of that today. Last time we also recapped and talked about map to the world and filters. So as we grow up, we all have a map of the world. So this is like all the experiences, all the beliefs, all the things we're told, basically come together to create that map. When we are going about our day-to-day life, we have filters because we can only take in between 5 and 9 pieces of information at any one time. So we talked about looking around the room, and you might see certain things that stand out to you. And then if you looked around the room again, and really looked around the room, then you'd notice other things that are perhaps on the periphery or a bit further away. But they're not the things that you would have noticed straight away. So again, as we look at things, or as people speak to us, we don't take in every single thing we're looking at or every single thing that someone's saying to us. We only pick out bits, and a lot of that is done really subconsciously. But it's really good to know that that's the case, because we need to become more aware if we want to be able to make changes in our behaviour and our states as we go forward. So if you want to hear about any of that in a bit more detail, then do go and look at NLP part 1, and then come back to today, where we'll be going into a few of the other parts of NLP in a little bit more detail. The state of mind. State of mind we've spoken about a number of times in other sessions. So we've talked about control, so choices. So if you look at the second bit there, you make the choices. It's all happening in your head even before you move your body. In previous sessions, we've talked about control. We've talked about it in our coaching course as well, that you have control over the way that you act. You can't control anybody else, but you can control yourself. And everything that you do is a choice. So you choose to get out of bed in the morning, you choose to make your breakfast, you choose whether to go and meet that person or not meet that person. So they're all choices. Sometimes it might feel like we've not got a choice, but in every situation, there is a choice to be made. So State of mind is one of the most important things we have, and we can affect change, and sometimes really quickly, just by thinking differently or reframing things. So, you know, when we talk about the cup half full or half empty, you know, the water's line still at the same place, but it's how you look at that cup. You know, do you think it is half full or do you think it is half empty? So looking at the same thing, two people can look at it in a completely different way. You make all the choices. So we've talked about that, and it is all happening in your head. You choose the way that you behave, and sometimes that can be quite hard to hear for some people. And sometimes it's quite difficult to control it, especially if you're, you know, respond to something in the same way over and over and over a period of years, then it can be quite difficult to change the way you respond to a particular thing. But it can be done with practice. And again, we talk about a lot about that in the coaching course in particular, and how you can affect that change. It's important to know that about state of mind, because it really affects how successful that we can be. So if you think of a sports person, if they've had a bit of a crummy morning and they're in a bad mood before they go out onto the football pitch, for example, it can really affect the way you play. You might be more angry on the pitch, you might be more, you know, less tolerant of things that might happen on the pitch, and you're not necessarily going to perform the best that you can perform because other distractions have come onto the field with you. Now, if you've had a really good morning and, you know, you're really pumped for the game, then you'll go onto the field with a different state of mind, and you're more likely to have a more positive experience on the field. And, you know, things that might annoy you, you just let go because you're in a good headspace. So, you know, whatever it is, whether it's sports or business or in your personal life, you know, the way you approach things, it can really make a difference. And it's really good to be aware that, you know, that is the case. So there's a little exercise here, and really this is best done in front of a mirror. So I'm going to talk you through a version of it, and I'm going to get you to close your eyes and go through it with me. But what I would suggest that you do is that once the recording's out, you get a full length mirror, and you stand and do this exercise in front of the full length mirror, because that's where you're going to be able to see the most results from this exercise. But for the time being, for those on the call, what I'd like you to do is just take a deep breath and close your eyes, your feet flat on the floor. Like I say, do this exercise again when you're in front of a full-length mirror. But for now, what I want you to do is just think of a time where you looked absolutely fantastic. For the boys, where you might, you know, have looked the most handsome you've ever looked. For the girls, the most beautiful you've ever looked. And if you can't think of a time, just make one up. You know, you're fit, you're healthy, your body looks the best it's ever been, your skin and hair look amazing, your makeup looks amazing, and you really have that glow about you. You really feel beautiful, confident. If you need to adjust your posture, and just sit in that feeling of feeling amazing. Now take another deep breath and open your eyes. How do you feel? So I've done this exercise and I felt fabulous. I sat up straighter, I felt good. And when you do it in front of the mirror, turn around and just notice how you look at yourself in the mirror. Do you look better? Are you standing taller? What's the position of your head, your shoulders, your arms? And now I want to repeat that exercise, but do it slightly differently. So I want you to close your eyes once more, take a deep breath. And this time, I want you to feel really, I want you to feel like really overweight, really old, you've had a really bad night's sleep, you're completely shapeless, a bit down in the dumps, your hair really needs washing, maybe you need to shower or clean your teeth, you've not done that today or yesterday. And open your eyes, I won't let you sit in that one for too long. So can you notice the difference in how you felt? And again, do this in front of the mirror and turn round after each one and you should see the difference. So you might find after the second one, your shoulders were a bit hunched, you're a bit bent over, you're a bit more looking at the floor rather than chest out and looking up, perhaps in the first one. And you can give yourself a score for each one when you do it in front of the mirror, and just notice the difference. So that's a very short exercise that we've done in less than a couple of minutes. But again, after each one, you felt quite differently, didn't you? And we could go into loads and loads of detail, but obviously on these short sessions, we're just sort of scratching the surface. So if you do really like any of the parts that we talk about, let us know and we can go into more detail in a future session. So we'll slide on into limiting beliefs, because this is quite closely linked. So what is a limiting belief? A limiting belief is essentially a belief that holds us back from achieving what we want to achieve. What can we do about them? A lot. So, people might say, I can't go and do that job. I don't have the skills. I can't go and do a public speaking gig because I don't have the confidence or the skills or whatever it is that you're telling yourself. Well, actually, you can do a lot of that, but it just takes confidence, it takes time, it takes practice. It might, if for a particular job, it might mean doing courses or learning, the skills that you need to do that job. But we have these things that we tell ourselves that we can't do things. And again, a really good exercise to do, and I won't get you to do it now, but I'll talk about it now and then you can watch the recording and do it in your own time, is to write down a problem that you've got on a piece of paper. So it might be like, I can't go and do a speaking gig because blah, de blah, blah. And then when you've talked about it, then look at it again and just notice all the times that you've used sort of negative words, that you couldn't do it, that you've had to do it, that you should have done it, all those sorts of negative words, don't, can't, shouldn't, haven't. Then rewrite that same phrase in a more positive way. So more an emphasis on what you want to do rather than what you don't want to do. And again, if you read any sort of NLP authors like Tony Robbins and that, they talk a lot about this and the language that you use. So it's quite well known that you should never tell a child, like, don't do something, because actually the brain doesn't understand the word don't or can't, all those sort of negative words. And actually all your brain hears is do that, which is why, like if I said to you, don't think of a green elephant, and all you want to do is think about a green elephant because I brought it to your mind. So actually what we should do is reframe it with what we do want people to do. So it might be, don't make a mess over there if you said it to a child. Well, instead of saying don't make a mess, it would be please keep that area tidy. So it's about reframing what we're saying and the language that we're using. So when you think about what you want, try not to think about what you don't want and focus on what you do want and how you're going to get there. And again, that's really hard to do at the beginning, and you're going to have to really catch yourself doing it a lot of times before you start, subconsciously shifting over. But again, with practice, you can do it. And that's something I really, really practice. And I don't always get it right, because sometimes I just think, oh God, I don't want to do this today or whatever. But actually trying to shift your brain into what you do want and focusing on what you do want and how you're going to get there is, much more of a recipe for success rather than thinking about what you don't want. And finally today, we're just going to touch on logical levels. So you might have seen a triangle like this before. So it's very similar to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and being from a HR background, for anybody that's got a HR background that might listen to this, you'll have seen this many times in learning your CIPD. NLP has a very similar triangle, and a lot of the levels actually are very similar as well. So I've got some notes here actually, so I'll talk you through a little bit because I didn't want to forget anything. So the levels are very similar. Our purpose is a bit like your Maslow's self-actualization. So your purpose is bigger than what you are. You have your filters and your beliefs, and then all these levels underpin the way you are, how you act, all that sort of stuff. So your purpose is your personal mission statement. What you want to achieve is bigger than yourself. What you're here on earth to do, that's what that level is all about. Your next level down is about identity. So this is about the sort of person that you are, how you identify, yourself. It's not what you do for a living, but it's who you are as a person. The next level down is all your beliefs and values. So this is all about why you do what you're doing. This is, where a lot of your childhood stuff will come in. So, that have helped create that map of the world. So, you unwittingly take on a lot of your parents' beliefs and your family's beliefs because you spend a lot of time with them, especially when you're a child. But beliefs and values can change through your life. So that's a level that you can really, really change if you really want to. If there's a behaviour or a pattern that's in your life that you don't like, then you can really focus on that level and start to change it. The next level down is skills. So this is about what you do well and how you do it. So these are things that are specifically learnt, and it might be skills, soft skills in life, how to interact with people, how to lead people, or it might be skills for a particular job or for a particular sport, whatever it is. These are like learned behaviours. Some of the skills are unconscious. So you might have people who are particularly good with nurturing people or talking to people. So they're quite unconscious skills that people don't, you hear that saying where you don't really realise that you're doing what you're doing, it just comes naturally. And people might not realise they have certain skills until other people point it out. But most of these skills are learned behaviours. And the next level down is all about behaviour. So this is about what you say and do, and it's an outward expression of all your skills, beliefs, all that sort of stuff. All of your skills and beliefs and identity will show in your kind of behaviour. And again, that's very easy to see when we talked about maps of the world and we talked about backgrounds and we compared, a background from a policeman to a gangster's family, their filters will give them very different behaviours towards the police. Excuse me. Again, behaviours is a level that we can really, really change through coaching, through therapy, through all sorts of modalities. But if you want to change something, behaviour skills are the places to start. The last level is about environment. So, this is something that we can't always do an awful lot about, but it's about where, when, and whom you do what you do. So it's about, the time we live in, the environment, are you someone that's lucky enough to live in the countryside, or are you in a city estate? Some things in the environment we might not be able to do an awful lot about right now, but it's useful to know, where you are and that you can work to change that should you want to. And this is really skimming the surface of some of this stuff, and you could go into it in a whole lot more detail. But I think the purpose of just bringing it up today is just to know that actually there's a lot of layers to us as human beings. And it's about trying to understand where we've come from and also where we are now to be able to put steps in place to get to where we want to go. So I have coaching regularly, and I had a session with her and this week. And actually, when we talked about things, I realised there was still stuff in my childhood and past that were possibly holding me back from having the confidence to do some of the things that I would like to do. So, it doesn't matter what level you are or how senior or how famous, a lot of the famous people, they all have things that they need to work on and to be able to get to the next level of whatever that might be for people. So that kind of wraps up today's very quick session on the second part of Introduction to NLP. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I will just pass over to James to round us off.
Brilliant. Thanks, Chris. I really enjoyed that. I love doing those exercises, even though we've done them before in some of our original Lunchtime Learns. They're really important to do. They just, even though they take a minute, 2 minutes, it makes such a difference. even if I do struggle to think of a time when I looked strikingly handsome and felt good about myself. But it's great to do that, so thank you. And just, yeah, to close off, we've got a mini coaching course that we launched quite recently, and it really does build upon some of these things that we've talked around about mindset and getting the right focus and how they enable you to move forward towards a goal that you're striving towards. And often when we're doing that, there are things that get in the way, hurdles, barriers, and this mini coaching course that we've produced really helps you think about what those are and how to completely get them out the way and just help yourself move forward. So that coaching course is available on our shop. If you want to get in touch with us, contact us by email, check out our website. We'd love to hear from you. Love to see people joining as members. And we're on all the social channels as well, Facebook and Twitter and YouTube. And we are coming to Instagram very, very soon at the end of the week. So we're just building our channel up. So if you're watching this, if you've got an Instagram handle, drop it over to us through one of the contacts, and it will be great to connect with you there. So that wraps up today's Lunchtime Learn, and thanks, Chris, for closing off the second part on NLP. The next one will be in 2 weeks' time with myself. That's the 18th of June, and we will be looking at the difference between coaching and mentoring and why they're different. Where are there skills and knowledge that helps you be both a coach and a mentor, and why might you want either? So if you're interested, check out the link on Eventbrite on the My People Club page. Until then, hope you enjoyed this Lunchtime Learn, and thank you very much.